Good evening, folks. So, just going to do another trade breakdown. Just break down my buy or my sell from today on GJ. So again, starting off from the 4 hour, jumping straight in on the replay tool. This is the two candles before my session, bullish and bearish. Doesn't really give much information. You could say if we start to break down and break the lows of the bullish candle, we could maybe start to sell. If we maybe start to form a support in here, we could maybe buy. These little rectangle zones here are just sort of like Asian range for the past couple of days. So I'll sort of get rid of those, but that's what they are at the moment. If I drop to the 1 hour chart, this is what we're looking like. If I drop to 30, this is sort of Asian range here. Technically that's the most recent support and resistance on the 30-minute time frame, but really like this is sort of your range here. If we close below the support, it makes more sense for price to tend to test the bottom end of this support, and if we close below that support, it makes more sense for price to tap into this sort of zone here if we can form a support or lower resistance under here and remain below this support. So that's my thought process on that. On the 30, if I just jump back to the 1 hour, and if we just skip through 1 hour, so this is the 6 to 7 1 hour candle. So we're 1 hour into the new 4 hour, and that's how prices closed. So we've closed below the support, right? And to me, this is a good sign for further downside. What I would be looking for is price to sort of respect this area and come back down. If we start to close back above and then we start to hold support above here, price could potentially push up to test sort of the Asian range again. But if I just drop the 30-minute time frame, that's how we're looking. So I actually took a short, and if I just bring on my short tool, this is my short. Now you might be thinking, why did you get in there? Why are you only targeting there? What's happening? So my thought process, of course, was if we close below on the 1 hour, it makes more sense for price to tap into at least to have this, or even the support, the most recent sort of support and resistance zone looking left. Now, of course, we have two big bearish candles. We have momentum. It looks like volume is in the market, and it does make sense to continue down. We have big candles here. If we get below here, we have a clean candle here. We could even test down to here. So if I just drop to the 5-minute time frame, I actually took a trade on the 5-minute this morning, and it's not really like me to use a 5-minute time frame. It's not really a time frame that I use. However, with the already close below, I just actually dropped down to the lower time frames to see what price was doing. And if I just play this on here, this is what I was seeing. So if I just mark up my 30-minute or 1 hour sort of range here, right, that's what we're sort of looking like. If I just remove this a little second, what I was thinking was, well, there's most likely we're going to tap into here or even down here, right? So see my entry, see this candle, see when this candle closed. When this candle closed, I actually wanted to take a sell here on this close, and what I was going to do was I was going to put my stop loss above here. I was going to target the lows. I think I was going to target here or somewhere within the support zone. I was going to get a 1-to-1, right? And that's what I was going to do. What I seen was we pulled up, we formed a resistance. We then closed back below the daily support. We've already got our 1 hour confirmation. We formed a support here. We tried to push up, but we couldn't break above the highs. And we then closed back bearish and we had broken the low. So see, when that had happened, I was like, right, this is going down. And I was thinking to myself, this is a perfect opportunity for me to use a 1 hour confirmation, get in on a lower time frame, lower resistance, and look to ride price down. Based on where we are, I expect price to come down as far as here at least, right? So if we're failing to break back above, you could even look at this as prices has tapped back in to this sort of support zone. And again, looking at the most recent 5-minute structure, what we're doing is we're breaking down. As soon as we consolidate, we're breaking down. So that's what I had in my head. Now, that was the perfect entry, but what had actually happened is when I was sort of lining this up, you know, looking at my broker, looking to take the sell. Price had actually, you know, opened, pushed up a little bit and shot down, right? So I was a little bit, I wasn't on the ball, you could say. And that's basically where I get in. So I get in here, basically just below the low of this. Now you might say, well, that's actually not bad. You know, you're sort of below. However, when I was sort of set my take profit and stuff, I'd actually set it off the screen. I'd set it way down here, right? But my idea was to, you know, take profits at the basically low of the support zone, which was getting me like a 0.5, right? I was getting roughly a 1-to-1 from up here with stops a little bit lower. This is just, you know, where my stops were on my broker. You know, on here you could have shortened them, but on my broker that's where they were above the 5-minute resistance. And I wanted to get out down here. I'm expecting continuation, so I'm expecting price to continue, right? Beyond the support, beyond this wick, and so on. But where I actually did get out then is just a little bit lower. It was like a 0.58 because I have my take profit sort of down the screen. I was looking to just get in and get out. You know, I could have held this, but you know, I'm sort of just trading based off of my data. You know, it seems to be that every time I get into a winning trade and I close out at 0.5 or 0.6, 0.7, whatever it is, I do get a full 1-to-1, or I get even more. You know, price does continue, which is a good sign, you know, because there's opportunity for me to get more out of the market, you know, capitalize, maximize on a better position. But I'm happy doing what I'm doing at the moment. You know, I'm definitely going to have to review this month's data, my winning trades, my losing trades, and especially my winners, and kind of map out where I was anticipating price to go to and did it get there. You know, how much could I have got additionally than where I am. The fact that I'm sort of hitting these, the win rate on these, my sort of 1-to-1 ratio is going higher. My 0.5 is going even higher. So I don't really, at the end of the day, like I don't really need to trade the 1-to-1. I don't need to train for 10 pips, 20 pips, whatever it is. I don't need to trade down to the hourly supports. I just need to get into a winning position and close out, whether it's 5 pips, 10 pips. Because down the line, the risk, you know, it's going to be a different ball game when I'm playing with a lot larger capital or risking a lot more. And it's, if I just continue what I'm doing, then, excuse me, I'm happy with that. But as you can see, this went straight into profit. So see, as soon as it got past 0.5 or like 0.5 and got past this wick, rather than remain in the trade and see potentially a pullback, because price was pulling back a little bit, and wick around, maybe fuck about in here or whatnot. I don't know what price is going to do, but I just closed it, right? So I get out here, obviously reflecting back on the charts and sort of where my ranges were. We can see that we tapped down into that lovely, and then of course London Open kicks in and boom, we have a massive push to the downside. But yeah, that's my trade. It's a pretty straightforward trade in terms of we're bullish in the 1 hour structure and the 30-minute time frame. We then get a support and we push up. We're obviously expecting this to be met in continuation to sort of continue the bullish trend, but the fact that we get a lower resistance, we then break the support, put in a new low, form a support at the bottom of the hour supports, but we fail to push up. And then what we actually do is we break in here strongly, so it makes sense looking left. Well, where's the clean areas? Where's price likely to go next? It's definitely going to tap into here, right? And you know, my sort of, I'm collecting data on breakout candles, and if this is our Asian support and this is our breakout candle, obviously this isn't in my session time, but this candle opens up at 6 o'clock. Even if I put a 1-to-1 here above the breakout candle coming into my session, you know, you can see there that you can easily get a 1-to-1, and it aligns up nicely with this. But of course, I'm not going to take that type of trade because of where we are. But from a data perspective, I can include that. When we had this hourly support or 30-minute support here, what I was thinking of was, well, what if the next candle actually closes bullish? See, no, what I was actually looking as well was this here support zone. I was seeing if this candle was going to respect the lows, and if it was maybe going to close bullish and break the highs of the previous. And if that was the case, then I probably would have taken a buy, and I would have looked to test back into Asian and keep an eye on this level and see if what sort of reaction we get. But the fact that we did close straight below, and that was a very nice strong close after such a heavy push down from 5 to 6. So we have momentum. It makes sense for price to continue down in this scenario. We obviously don't know where the pullback is, but as you can see with this wick, if I just remove that, we can see that we close below, we then push back up, and we spike back into the support zone on the hourly. Then we start to break back down, and then that's where you see the sort of continuation. Lower time frame, lower resistances, which are the wick regions, and yeah, made for a good trade. Of course, one that there was a lot more to capitalize on, but you know, I'm happy with the sort of trade and the entry, and how I managed the trade. No, it was a winning trade, so it adds to the portfolio, which is good. And yeah, happy enough. So I'll get this one uploaded. So again, anyone that watches, appreciate the time you just take to sit and watch. And if it helps in any way, it's just easier for me to sort of digest and learn from myself when I talk about things, and I'm a visual learner, so it definitely helps me a lot learning this way for myself. But yeah, appreciate the time. Cheers.